Hi, welcome to my video presentation for procedural animation. In my assignment I have decided to make bubbles in a cup of coffee using Niagara in Unreal Engine 5. Niagara is Unreal's VFX system, which is made to be so that the technical artist can make procedural animations without the help of a programmer. The system is adaptable and flexible, and it can be used for all sorts of VFX. Now let me explain the workflow step by step. First, create a material. When you double click and open it, you see it has created a material node. The material node is the final input and determines the material's appearance. To make the material transparent, find blend mode in the details panel and set it to translucent. Under blend mode, set the shading model to unlit to only output emissive values without lighting. The shading model combines multiple shading models within a single material. This is not necessary for the bubbles. Create a depth fade node to hide seams when opaque and translucent objects overlap. Make nodes by right-clicking inside the viewport where the node needs to be and write the name of the node in the pop-up menu that appears. Create and attach a constant node to opacity on the depth fade input where it says opacity, so that we can adjust the translucent value of objects. This must be converted to a parameter to see the change in real time. The constant material expression outputs a single float value. Make another constant node that you convert to a parameter and attach this to the second input on the depth fade where it states fade distance. Create a Fresnel node. This calculates a fall off based on the normal surface and the camera's direction. When the normal points at the camera, it makes that area see-through, and when it points out in this, to the side of the bubble according to the camera, it makes it visible. Multiply the depth fade and the Fresnel. Make a multiply node and attach the Fresnel to one input and the depth fade to the other. This combines their effect and how much each input has on the output. Make a particle color node and connect it to a second multiply node from its alpha output channel. This is to change the color in the particle system. Connect the first and second multiply nodes from output to input. Connect the RGB output to the material node's emissive color input. Connect the second multiply and the opacity on the material node. Create an instance in the viewport so that it is possible to change the value of depth fade and see it in real time. Adjust the fade distance and opacity of the bubble instance to make it see-through and give it an edge that is more visible towards the edges. This can be found under the global scalar parameter in the details panel. Now let's create a Niagara system. To create the sphere particles, change the sprite renderer to the mesh renderer at the bottom of the Niagara overview node. The sprite renderer makes the sprites and not what is needed. What is needed is for Niagara to use our bubble material instance, so then we need to use the mesh renderer instead. Then in the mesh renderer option, select material sphere, and in the override materials, choose the material instance made previously. In the Niagara overview node, under emitter update, we make a spawn rate and enter the value of how many bubbles is needed. Press particle spawn under emitter update and change the mesh scale to random uniform in the options. Then enter the desired minimum and maximum values of scale for the bubbles. Press initialize particle in the Niagara overview node under particle spawn. Find point attributes and lifetime mode in the options. Change it to random and enter lifetime minimum and maximum to decide how long the bubbles exist. Under particle spawn, create a shape location and make it a cylinder. This will determine the area where the bubbles spawn and make it round to fit the coffee cup. Change the height of it to 0 so that it only spawns on a flat surface. Under particle spawn, make a scale mesh size. We changed the 3 curves, x, y and z, in the options to a straight line from 0 to 1 and then a steeper line from 1 to 2. This changes the positions where they randomly spawn. Finally, make color under particle update and choose a random range linear color in the options. Then select the 2 colors in between these 2 colors. This is what Niagara will randomly select from when putting colors on the bubbles. In this coffee example, I chose 2 colors from the picture of a cappuccino, one darker and one lighter. This is because the coffee is more see-through than in a cup, and I figured the bubbles would be browner than the coffee itself. When you do get the bubble you want, you must try different things and change different attributes to see what you need. You can change the bubble sizes by changing the mesh scale minimum and maximum. You can change how many bubbles there are by changing the spawn rate. Change the shape location by making it another shape. Change the spawn rate curves to make them spawn in different places. Change how long each bubble lives by changing the lifetime mode. Change the override material to another material instance to be something else. There are plenty of ways to change this to give the desired result, which should be tweaked to fit the user's wish. I tried to find limitations with the system, but all I could find was some comments on Niagara's collisions not being able to be used on mobile platforms. Something I'm sure they will work out in time. And that's all. Thank you for watching my video tutorial on making bubbles in Niagara.